In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. So you'll notice that we have our mixed number here, where we have a whole number part to our mixed number, which is the value of 2. And we have a fractional part, which is the value of 3/4. Now, most of us have been taught when converting a mixed number into an improper fraction that there is a certain amount of a trick involved. So the first thing that we're usually taught is to take 4 times 2, which gives us 8, plus 3, and this will give us 11/4. But my question is why does this work? It works every single time, we all seem to do it, but why? One of the best ways to do this is to show a visual representation of what 2 3/4 looks like. So I'm going to start by creating 3 different circles. The first circle represents 1. The second circle represents 2. So notice that we have 2 whole circles shaded. And then 3/4 on my last circle, I'm going to divvy up into 4 different sections. So I have 1/4 of each one of the circles, right? Each one of my sections represents a 4th. And I'm going to have 3 of those shaded. 1, 2, 3. Now I have a visual representation of what 2 3/4 is. Now my question, remember, is why does the trick work? And how can we show it? So 4 times 2 ends up being 8, but I don't see anything that would represent an 8 here. Well, let's dive deeper on what that 4 is. So remember, this 4 is actually divided by 4, right? It's actually in the denominator, which means that we're actually looking at a fraction. So we're looking at taking a 4th. Well, if I think about a 4th in my whole numbers, well, how many 4ths do I have? So when I'm multiplying 4 times 2, I know that I'm getting 8. So now that I've divvied up my 2 wholes into 4ths, I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 4ths. In other words, 8 copies of 1/4. Now, after we've actually multiplied our denominator and our whole number together to come up with the 8, now we had to add 3. Well, where did those additional 3 come from? Well, you'll notice in our graphic, those additional 3 actually come from our third circle. So I have 9, 10, and 11. So now you'll notice that I actually end up with 11 pieces of my representation of my visual here that represent a 4th. In other words, I have 11 copies of 1/4. Hopefully you find this helpful and you can better explain why when we are multiplying by the denominator to the whole number and adding the numerator, we actually get the improper fraction.